It's exciting to be able to get out and see how this community is growing and to be involved in it.
If there were more roads that were accustomed for the bicyclist, I think there would be more commuting going on.
You have to be resource efficient, and sustainability is all about using our natural resources, our man-made resources, our economic resources, and using them in a very sort of smart, wise way.
Funding provided by the U.S. Department of Transportation CMAQ program.
In this episode, we're looking at sustainability in Henderson County. In Henderson, we're proud of our community. We have a vibrant downtown with a beautiful riverfront, and we want to maintain that. Engage Henderson is a group of concerned residents, organizations, and leaders from the community who are working to revitalize the neighborhood adjacent to our downtown, known as the East End. Progress is being made, and as these renewal projects move forward, the city of Henderson will become more attractive and connected than ever before.
The city of Henderson is the 10th largest community in Kentucky, and like anywhere else, as parts of the community flourish, there are some neighborhoods that don't always fare as well, as is the case with Henderson's East End.
The East End of Henderson has always been called the working class neighborhood, and it's been a wonderful neighborhood over the years that's changed over time. In the late 1800s, there was what we called, as I was a child, the hosiery mill built here. And that hosiery mill, which was a large complex of buildings, has done many, many things over the years. It has since, though, been torn down, and the neighborhood, the complexities of the neighborhood has changed dramatically. As urban sprawl started back in the late 50s and early 60s, many of the people who lived in the neighborhood, as means permitted, moved out to the suburbs. And it changed the neighborhood from primarily homeowners to primarily renters. And as a result, some of the neighborhood has deteriorated.
The East End makes up about 25% of the 13,000 homes in Henderson, making it the focus of sustainability efforts and revitalization projects. In previous episodes, we've explored environmental issues with the scope of sustainability, but what about social and economic aspects?
Sustainability is also about economic sustainability, resilience, and reinvestment in areas that have sort of been disinvested over the past decades. The East End in Henderson is a very diverse area. There are some stable housing blocks there, and then there are others that have experienced a lot of disinvestment. And so we're working to try to understand the dynamic over there.
My name is Bob Seymour, and I'm the CFO for One Life Network, which has been a part of planning One Life churches. And our first one that we planted was on 10-10-10 here in Henderson's East End. And as we are planting churches, we're working on a third site. Every place that we plant a church, we connect with a neighborhood. We've decided that our outreach in the community, where we're serving kind of under-resourced areas, we're going to select a neighborhood and be all-encompassing. How can we raise the quality of life in that neighborhood? What resources, what people, what support we can give to that neighborhood. So we created something in our young existence called Engage, and it's very important to note Engage is not an entity. Engage is really an idea.
The idea is to invest time into a neighborhood and do 4 things. First, listen to the community to understand their needs. Second, align those needs with existing resources in that community. Third is to act and follow through on ideas. And fourth, repeat.
And at the end of the day, Engage, I always say we bring the tables, we bring the discussion, we bring the dialogue, and then we just kind of try to strengthen the partners, the people that are in the neighborhood, and then join in to serve them.
When we started talking with Engage about what we could do in the community, one of the first ideas that came up was a community garden. And a community garden is a nice starting point because it involves the residents of the community in something that they can do themselves, which is plant food. It allowed us to take a vacant lot that had been vacant for a number of years and transform it into something that has really caught the attention of all the neighbors here. So it was a very, very good way to start the conversation about doing things in the community that could change the look of the community.
Another strategy for improving the neighborhood is childhood development and education.
Schools are often the center of a neighborhood. They're sort of act as the community center. The families kind of rally around programming and activities at the school.
When we talk about quality of life in East End, make no mistake, part of the emphasis is the next generation. And at the end of the day, there's under-resourced families, there's challenges, there's work is needed, economic development is needed, all those kinds of things. But it's very important that we bring up the next generation to live in fresh new ways. And one of the joys of Henderson's East End is we actually have two very strategic schools that serve this area, Jefferson Elementary and South Heights Elementary. And Chrissy Sandiford is the principal over at Jefferson Elementary, and they just launched the Leader in Me curriculum that just to serve these kids in this kind of an area and to raise their sights on the leader that they are. They just launched that. We were a part of that recently. Rob Carroll is the principal at South Heights Elementary, and Rob is just an award-winning principal, and one of the things that I love about Rob's vision is just a small thing that he does is he takes kindergartners on college tours. And if you think about that idea, these kids in under-resourced areas, they're not thinking about college. They're pretty much just thinking about getting through school and finding a job and all that. But he starts creating a vision in these kids' lives at kindergarten. And then they go in first grade, then they go in second grade. Now every year they go on a college tour. And obviously at 5th grade they go to UK, because that's where every Kentucky person's supposed to go. But the bottom line is he gives them a vision for their life, and all of the school culture is designed around it's just a greatness factor in the trajectory of these kids' lives. And Rob Carroll calls it the 1199 vision. We're starting to steal some of his ideas around an engaged kids zone, because what Rob says is he cares deeply from 0 to 18. Now he's saying he cares 0 to 22, because just getting him to college is not the most important thing. Getting him out of college is.
There are others working to make a difference as well. In 1999, the Housing Authority of Henderson began purchasing vacated lots, and several years ago started rehabilitating these lots with green affordable housing.
When they talk to you about sustainable communities, one of the biggest key components is the lack of quality affordable housing. And in a lot of the older neighborhoods, they have begun to decay. We chose the MLK corridor because it runs through the heart of our housing, the public housing community. And it's a major thoroughfare that we have local transportation through our Henderson Area Rapid Transit System, our bus system. We're also close to grocery stores, pharmacies, doctor's offices. It's just a centrally located neighborhood. And that's one of the reasons why we chose this area to be our focal point for our revitalization project. The building that you see behind us is our first multifamily complex. They're very affordable, affordable utilities. Again, all green building. You're looking at a 50-year roof and different other green components that was used in the construction of the building. The rent is very affordable. It's a little bit below market rate, and we house residents whose income is at or below 50% of the area median income, who would never have been able to realize living in something as affordable as this. Their average utility bill runs between $40 and $45, and if you talk with some of the residents that live here, they were once paying utility bills of $300, $400. So it really makes a big difference.
Another way to revitalize a neighborhood is to create assets that attract people from outside the immediate area. Something unique and exciting that the community will be willing to visit and enjoy. The Engage team is considering an arts district along Letcher Street that would provide studio and living space for artists and serve as a hub that would encourage the development of cafes, restaurants, and retail shops in the area.
So we're trying to locate an arts district along Letcher Street, and first phase of it is right there heading from Washington Avenue heading south for several blocks.
What you'll find is what looks like an old space that at one time in the history of East End was very vibrant. There's old stores, there's a bank, there's a drive-through bank. They all closed or all transitioned into less than exciting places. And it's kind of a resurgence with a new idea of an old area.
So Ledger Street corridor will be developed into an arts district. It obviously will be a benefit to the neighbors who live in this community, but it'll also be a benefit to the entire city. We do not have an arts district in town, so it'll be a great opportunity for people who don't live here to visit the community and hopefully contribute to the retail environment and come back and visit often.
More and more we're finding that resources available to people are limited. Government services are limited. The taxpayer amounts of dollars are limited. So you have to be resource efficient, and sustainability is all about using our natural resources, our man-made resources, our economic resources, and using them in a very sort of smart, wise way.